It is my pleasure to welcome you to this episode of Service to Humanity, a Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development Public Enlightenment Program. I am Habiba Zakzak, your regular anchor. In our lineup, more rural women benefit from the cash grant, and this time we bring highlights from Abia and Kogi states. Also in the program, National Emergency Management Agency targets efficient service delivery with the support of its supervising Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. These and more after this short break. Please stay tuned.
Across the 6 geopolitical zones.
They should use this money for what it is meant for, graciously to take care of their family.
In 36 states and the FCT. Over 6.4 million of Nigerians poorest of the poor in about 1.3 million households receive conditional cash transfers of 5,000 naira monthly under the Household Upliftment Program of the federal government. Their joy knows no bound.
And the government very well because they did well for us.
It helped me to do any other thing, my family.
Reducing absolute poverty, promoting shared prosperity through the Conditional Cash Transfer Initiative. The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development in service to humanity.
What's in the news for the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development? Find out in our first segment, Management Diary.
Governors of Borno, Adamawa and Newage states.
Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has pledged the government's commitment to the plight of displaced persons affected by the crisis in the Northeast, which is in its 12th year. She made this declaration while speaking at the virtual launch of a $1 billion fund for the victims of the Northeast insurgency. Sadia Umar Farouk said a clear indication of this commitment is the inauguration in 2020 of a National Humanitarian Coordination Committee (NHCC), an advisory body to guide humanitarian activities in the country.
It has been established as an overarching body bringing together a broad range of state and federal ministries and institutions to strategically address challenges posed by humanitarian needs. We have continued to work with the humanitarian community to operationalize the civil security cooperation framework as part of government's commitment to create an enabling environment for humanitarian response in Northeast Nigeria as elaborated in the Humanitarian Response Plan.
The minister said additional challenges of security and access for partners has spurred the development of a national humanitarian development peace framework which emphasizes longer-term solutions.
I am encouraged that the NHDPF emphasizes promoting long-term durable solutions. We must always look forward beyond the immediate crisis to ensure that we help people establish their lives and strengthen communities so that we can reduce dependence on aid and promote resilience and self-reliance. I would like to pledge my commitment, continued support and cooperation with the humanitarian community to address the sufferings of the people in Borno, Adamawa and Newage states as elaborated in the Humanitarian Response Plan and articulated in the National Humanitarian Development Peace Framework.
Nigerians have been called upon to support the efforts of the present administration in its quest to lift Nigerians out of poverty. National Coordinator of the National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office, Mr. Yowa Akbera, made this call in a recent interview. Akbera said, administration of President Muhammadu Buhari can be trusted because so far it has demonstrated its commitment to tackling poverty in Nigeria through various ways.
This effort by the President Muhammadu Buhari is by far the most ambitious investment into the poverty question in the history of our country. They have consistently budgeted 500 billion naira annually since they came on board. They have then also institutionalized the structures and the framework for a sustainable approach to poverty eradication. They have set up and approved the National Social Protection Policy, which is a framework that guides all the social intervention programs that identify for Nigeria. We should be looking at doing cash transfer to the poor and vulnerable. We should look at giving health insurance to the elderly. We should look at programs for persons living with disability. We should look at programs for persons who are poor, who are from vulnerable homes, who are pregnant, that they cannot access hospitals or cannot access hospital care, to grant them free medical care in primary health care.
The biggest commitment so far, according to Mr. Agbera, is the creation of a ministry solely dedicated to the implementation of poverty alleviation programs of government.
Before we had ad hoc programs. You have a Shopee, you have a NAPEP, they were really ad hoc that were sitting under presidency or ministries. Now you have a ministry that is established with a clear mandate. Tackle the poverty question for me. Tackle the humanitarian crisis for me. Tackle the disaster management issues for me. Structure by in place structures and frameworks and policies. The ministry has a very robust structure, and the ministry have these programs under the ministry that are now responsible for providing those technical guidelines to state teams that are then doing the implementation.
The most recent product under the Social Investment Program is the cash grant to rural women. A one-off grant of 20,000 naira is given to these women to help them start any small business of their choice. On this episode, we go to Abia and Kogi states to bring you highlights during the flag-off of cash grant to rural women.
It is a dance of joy. These women are part of the 2,500 who just collected the 20,000 naira cash grant for rural women in Abia State.
We are happy that
They all had plans for what they would do with the money given to them by this administration.
we are happy that today is a good day for us. We, the special disabled, we are happy that you put us. May God bless our governor, Nigeria, the whole world. We are happy. Thank you very much.
I am from Iselangwa, not local government. I am a trader, a petty trader. I am happy for this money. I am going to use it for my business. Thank you very much.
Obi ndị moto banyere gọvanọ anyị onye mere ka ego arute anyị aka iji tinye na biznes nke anyị na-eme. Ana m asị ka Chineke gọzie gọvanọ anyị n'aha Jizọs. Amen.
Earlier in the ceremony, which held at the Michael Okara Auditorium, Umuahia, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Bashir Noura Al-Kali, stated that poverty reduction is a major goal of most countries, including Nigeria.
Your Excellency, this is because poverty reduction has become a major objective of governments all over the world, and it is a key goal every country is working towards in order to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
According to the minister, the grant is to help the women out of poverty and improve their livelihoods. The minister encouraged the women to see the fund as seed to boost their trade and not as their part of the national cake.
For the beneficiaries, let me advise here that this money belongs to you and to you alone. It is meant for you to use in any small business venture you deem fit, and that will improve your lives. Please and please ensure that you use it for this purpose.
The governor of Abia State, Okezi Victor Ikpezu, represented by the deputy governor, Ude Oko Chukwu, expressed their gratitude to the president for empowering about 2,000 women in the state. He encouraged the women to make wise use of the money given to them. He appreciated the efforts of the president through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development.
I cannot but continue to appreciate His Excellency, the President of this country, for this wonderful initiative. You talk about the empire, you talk about the farmer's money, you talk about, is it the free school feed program? And all this is the bid to ensure that we alleviate poverty and reduce poverty in this country. So, Honorable Minister, through the PAMSAT, let me once again appreciate His Excellency the President, through you and through the Minister. Extend our sincere gratitude to him because we appreciate all that he is doing for all people.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Women Affairs, Ngozi Chikwendu, stated that empowering a woman is empowering a nation. Hence, she encouraged the women to make use of the money in the proper way for good result.
Today, as these cash grants are given out to beneficiaries, we want to believe that they will not look at the size of the package, but that they will put this grant into use so that, like the mustard seed, it will grow into a larger tree that will give shade to so many people.
The Permanent Secretary also represented the Minister in Kogi State during the flag-off of its cash grants to rural women. In this state, about 3,000 women benefited from the 20,000 Naira cash grant.
For 500,000.
During the ceremony, the Permanent Secretary Bashir Nura Al-Ghali explained that the initiative is a part of the National Social Investment Program of this administration, from which many households have benefited.
With the creation of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Your Excellencies, these programs are being restructured and revamped to respond to peculiarities of different parts of the country. This is to ensure that the right beneficiaries are targeted and to enhance impact on targeted beneficiaries.
He encouraged the women to use the grants to improve their living standard by boosting their income.
Again, to the beneficiaries, let me, however, reiterate that this money is yours and yours alone. It is meant for you to use in any small business venture you deem fit, and that will improve your lives. Please ensure that you use it for that purpose.
Speaking earlier, the Kogi State focal person for the NSIP, Suleiman Onyeke, and the Commissioner for Women Affairs, Fatima Kabir Buba, had appreciated the efforts of the Minister in ensuring the reduction of poverty in the state and the country at large.
I want to especially commend the effort of our Honorable Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development for the great job she has been doing across the country. We thank you, Ma, for always counting Kogi among the top active states in the effective implementation of National Social Investment Program.
On this note, I want to appreciate the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, the representatives of the Honorable Minister and his team for empowering women with this grant and for several other survival funds that women have been accessing over time. Thank you so much, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
The Governor of Kogi State, who was represented by his deputy, Edward Onoja, in his remarks, appreciated the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs for empowering the poor and vulnerable across the country through the various social investment programs.
On behalf of His Excellency, I also thank our beloved President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, for sticking to his desire and goal of impacting the less privileged and the poor in the society and adding value to their lives in the best way he can while he serves as the #1 citizens of this country. We want to also appreciate the Honorable Minister and our team in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development for their consistency over the last 5 years in ensuring that the gap between the rich and the poor is bridged by virtue of the various social programs that have been initiated, and a lot of Nigerians, irrespective of their class, have benefited.
For Women Affairs,
Thereafter, the beneficiaries, including persons with special needs, received the cash grant.
Honorable President, for this wonderful program for persons living with disability and for the vulnerable women in our society. We pray that the good Lord will bless the President, will bless Kogi State, our governor, and everybody present in the name of Jesus. And I also believe that with the help of this money, we are going to use it very well, and it's going to be a plus to our society. Thank you very much.
We are appreciating the minister. She has deemed it fit to see our inside but not outside. Out of disability there is ability, out of ability there is creativity.
I'm happy and I thank the ministry for coming here to assist us, and especially with the food stuff. May God bless all your staff and God bless Nigeria.
The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development in service to humanity. Welcome back. One of the agencies that the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs supervises is the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. The agency has a mandate to formulate policies on all activities relating to disaster management in Nigeria. In order to carry out its mandate effectively, it held a retreat for its officers in the various fields across the nation. The Minister, Sadiya Umar Farouk, was there to give unwavering support to NEMA. Let's take that report.
Man-made and natural disasters are fairly common in developing economies. Floods during the rainy season have become a perennial occurrence. Fires at markets, pipeline and gas explosions, building collapse or wanton destruction due to conflict are some of the disasters that Nigeria has had to cope with in recent times. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is the government body set up with a mandate to formulate policies on all activities relating to disaster management in Nigeria and coordinate the plans and programs for efficient and effective response to disasters at national level. It is in line with improving its ability to respond to disasters that the agency organized a retreat with the theme, Effective and Efficient Service Delivery at Operational Level. The retreat brought together all the field officers from the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT in order for the frontline managers to deliberate on how to effectively mitigate and respond to disasters at their various domains.
Field officers.
This much was stated by the Director General of the agency, AVM Muhammadu Muhammad, when he gave the opening address.
Field officers are particularly important in the implementation of our strategies. You are the ones in touch with the state governments, the state emergency management agencies, and with the people we are serving. As the frontline managers, therefore, we are here to deliberate on effective and efficient service delivery to the nation. Delivering effective and efficient service calls for serious commitment on our part. As disaster managers, we must grow out of self-pity to fashion out measures for intervention and initiate disaster risk reduction strategies suitable to our respective communities.
The NEMA DG highlighted the targets the agency has set for itself to include awareness campaigns to Nigerians on reducing the risk of flooding disasters, development of resilience amongst communities, responding to all catastrophic disasters in the country, shortening response time to emergencies to 20 minutes, strengthening the institutions of disaster management along all levels, implementing a humanitarian development nexus, supporting the provision of basic needs to IDPs amongst other targets.
To the management of the agency.
While acknowledging the support of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, the DG highlighted some of the success he has recorded in improving the capacity of NEMA to deliver on its mandate.
We have engaged the National Assembly as partners in the conduct of our affairs. We are working on intra and interdepartmental collaboration. We have produced 2019 annual report, which was last done in 2016. We settled all verifiable staff claims that have been pending for a couple of years. We are also resolving contract liabilities that have been lingering since 2017. We have reactivated many operational equipment, as well as we are making progress in procuring operational vehicles. Our communication equipment are receiving attention, and the call center has been reactivated. Effort is now being made to bring home our air ambulance.
While declaring the retreat open, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, described the retreat as timely given the strategic role NEMA plays in the country.
NEMA, as one of the agencies under the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, has a huge role to play in leading disaster preparedness, mitigation, response, and recovery, and ensuring the affected people develop resilience to disasters. Hence, it is important that all the heads of zonal, operation, and territorial offices learn new ways of working and strategies that will enable seamless collaboration and coordination with stakeholders and disaster management at state level.
Describing disasters as a huge impediment to development in any society, the ministers tasked field workers on their roles in disaster management and mitigation.
The coordination of disaster reduction frameworks is one of the core reasons for the establishment of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Your roles as field officers, therefore, is not to wait for disasters to occur, but to cascade the policies of government to the local levels and improve the knowledge of the people in disaster risk reduction. Disaster prevention education provides the knowledge and skills needed to systematically recognize hazards and vulnerabilities, reduce the physical risks in their environment, make use of capacities and resources, and protect from hazard impacts.
She reiterated the commitment of her ministry to provide leadership that will improve the efficiency in service delivery, especially at the operational level. The resource person spoke of modern management of the public sector, the need to reduce bureaucratic bottlenecks to improve efficiency and effectiveness in service delivery.
There's a need to address the problems of public services. Public services. And how do we address the need for these public services? I want you to understand one basic thing. For us to address the need of public services, like I impliedly said, there has to be efficiency and effectiveness in the organization, in the coordination of organizational resources for us to achieve that. Impliedly, therefore, like I said, we are moving away from the new public management, away from the traditional model, which talks much about bureaucracy.
End of this workshop, we expect that we'll go back to our various offices, having known new things to manage disasters at the strategic level.
There you have it. We all have a role to play in delivering service to humanity, even if it is to propagate flawed alerts. Let's all come together and be our brother's keeper. Until I come your way again next week, Stay safe.